Good morning, Brandcliff House. 108 years ago today, in 1912, during the early hours of the morning, the RMS Titanic broke apart and sank after colliding with an iceberg in the frigid waters of the North Atlantic Ocean. Traveling on a maiden journey from Southampton to New York, the Titanic was the largest ship afloat at the time, the pinnacle of technology, luxury and comfort, and it was deemed to be unsinkable. But on the night of the 14th of April, as she carried over 2,000 passengers and crew, more than 1,500 died in the freezing ocean due to a multitude of failures, chiefly a shortage of lifeboats and a disregard for safety and caution. It's the deadliest peacetime maritime disaster in history. Now, over 100 years later, the legacy of the Titanic tragedy continues to provide life lessons on how we can avoid falling victim to our own hubris, which, apart from being a very cool word to say, means our extreme pride or arrogance. So how can we recognize the risks that lie ahead for us, and what can we do to be prepared for any eventuality? Firstly, we must understand that there may be icebergs ahead. Things do not always go according to plan. Despite our best efforts, unforeseen events can occur that have severe consequences for us. In fact, you are experiencing one of the big icebergs right now. Sometimes truly unpredictable things can happen, but this was not the case with the Titanic. Icebergs were completely expected due to the season, the temperature, the latitude. Many ships had even spotted them along the route and had warned the Titanic. If the unsinkable ship had slowed down or even stopped until the light of the morning, history would probably have a very different tale to tell. And while we can't predict everything, some risks and some dangers sit right in front of us. Maybe we just weren't paying attention or listening to people's advice. We must not underestimate these icebergs. Watch out for them. Take notice. Take appropriate action in good time. Did you have your eyes open, or were you asleep at the wheel? We must understand that we cannot control everything, although we like to think we can. When it comes down to it, the only thing we can control is our own personal behavior. While we may not be responsible for some disaster or tragedy, we are responsible for how we act in such circumstances. Some of the Titanic survivors forced their way into lifeboats and disregarded safety instructions, which led to even more loss of life. However, many others acted in a rational and responsible way and are remembered ever after as heroes. Do we rely too much on technology? Could you survive without a cell phone? How about the internet? Just because something is bigger, better, and more technologically advanced does not mean that it is good or that it can never fail. When the technology breaks or does not work, there's no substitute for logic and reason. If we rely too much on technology, we do not develop our other important skills like communication and critical thinking. Maritime academies and colleges around the world have even resumed teaching crews and captains how to navigate by the stars, because even GPS equipment and signals could fail, putting the ship at risk. One of my favorite examples of not relying on technology occurred in 1966. During the early days of manned spaceflight, the crew of NASA's Gemini 12 spacecraft were orbiting about 200 kilometers above Earth, attempting to dock with a target vehicle called the Agena. 120 kilometers away from the Agena, the astronauts suddenly lost their radar lock-on. Without a successful docking, the mission would have to be aborted and would be scrapped. However, one of the astronauts, Buzz Aldrin, used a sextant and slide rule to manually calculate the correct trajectory to rendezvous with the Agena. The two spacecraft successfully docked, and the Gemini 12 mission was a complete success due to Aldrin's quick thinking and practical skills. So don't put all your trust in technology. Use it as a tool by all means, but have a backup plan in case it breaks. We must also understand we are not invincible. We think we'll live forever or that nothing can stop us. We run off uncontrolled with half-baked plans. We refuse advice from those who know better than us, and we are surprised when we fail. The Titanic only had lifeboats to carry half of those on board. Further, the ship was traveling too fast, in the dark, through dangerous waters which were known to be infested by icebergs. Despite warnings, the shipping company and the captain were keen to push the limits of the ship to demonstrate the speed of the Titanic. So if you plan to engage in dangerous or risky behaviors, be sure to take sufficient precautions in case things don't go according to plan. Even skydivers carry backup parachutes. We also need to understand how to ask for help. Sometimes when we need assistance, we don't know how to ask properly. We're scared people will think we're weak. Perhaps we've asked the wrong person. Maybe we followed the wrong procedure or relied on those without any real authority to change our situation. Maybe we didn't articulate what we needed. Maybe we didn't ask for help until it was way too late. And before it sank beneath the icy waters forever, the Titanic sent up flares. They used signaling lights. They sent out SOS messages. But nearby ships did not understand the signals and did not receive the messages. The SS Californian, a ship that was within sight of the Titanic as it sank, did not receive the SOS radio broadcasts because its wireless operator had gone to sleep for the night. So we need to be clear, quick and focused when we ask for help. Don't give up trying until you receive what you need. In conclusion, after the sinking of the Titanic, there were many inquiries into the disaster. After one of the more intense investigations, one inspector concluded that there were no villains in this story, only human beings with human characteristics. So we're all human, with our own unique strengths and weaknesses. And the better we understand our own gifts and shortcomings, the more prepared and resilient we will be in the face of unexpected circumstances. Please stay safe and have a very good week. Thank you.